Gentlemen, it looks like Alex Pereira's career might be coming to an end. Back in March, Pereira lost his light heavyweight belt to Magomed Ankalaev, and right after the fight, the Russian made it clear he was ready to run it back immediately. As the new champion, Ankalaev had the power to choose the venue and the timing of the rematch. And naturally, the most obvious choice was October in Abu Dhabi, a card designed for Muslim fighters, where Magomed would basically be fighting at home, in front of an overwhelmingly supportive crowd. But here's the thing, Ankalaev actually gave that up. He was so eager to fight again that he said, "Forget Abu Dhabi. I'll fight in June, July, or August, anywhere, anytime." He just wanted to give Pereira a shot at redemption. And yet to this day, Alex hasn't accepted any date. None. The Russian tried locking the fight in for 3 different months, and got ghosted every single time. Radio silence from Pereira's side. So then what? Ankalaev did what any new champion would do. He looked for another challenger. But that didn't work either. Jiri Prochazka, the number 2 contender, turned the opportunity down. Not for injury or negotiation issues, but because he said he wanted to take time off to focus on college. Yes, college. We're in a bizarre moment where the UFC light heavyweight champion is practically begging for someone to fight him, and nobody is raising their hand. Eventually Magomed gave up and returned to his original plan, October in Abu Dhabi. But even then, Pereira still hasn't agreed to the fight. That's when things got more intense. Magomed went on social media and hinted, strongly, that Alex Pereira might be done. In his post, the Russian said he tried 3 different dates, but got no response. And based on that, he's starting to believe Alex Pereira has already retired and just hasn't announced it yet. It sounds dramatic, but this isn't some crazy rumor. This is coming directly from the champion himself. So now the question becomes, what's really going on with Alex Pereira? Why is he completely silent? This is especially strange because Pereira is known for being one of the most active fighters in the UFC. He averages more than 2 fights a year and has a history of accepting matchups on short notice, even without a proper training camp. But now, he's doing the complete opposite. There are 3 possible explanations. First, he might be injured, not a major injury. Otherwise, he or the UFC would have announced it. But maybe he's dealing with micro-injuries, nagging pain, or fatigue that comes from years of high-impact combat. Let's not forget, Pereira's been through wars in both kickboxing and MMA. He's been a 2-division champion. He trains like an animal. His body has taken a toll. Maybe right now he's struggling with physical issues he doesn't want to make public. And here's the key question. Would you take a rematch against a guy like Ankalaev, a powerful, methodical, dangerous wrestler, when you're not feeling 100%? If he's not completely healthy, it makes sense that he's stalling. Second possibility, the loss really shook him. Yes, he did a great job defending takedowns, that's undeniable. But what shocked everyone was how little he managed to do on the feet. The fight was supposed to favor Pereira if it stayed standing, but the exact opposite happened. The Russian landed the harder shots and controlled the striking exchanges. Getting outstruck by a wrestler was not just unexpected, it was a humiliation. And then there's the age factor. Pereira turns 38 in July. He's not a young prospect anymore. He's a legend who's already achieved everything there is to achieve. Middleweight champion, light heavyweight champion, victories over elite opponents, and a fan base that adores him. So maybe after that loss, he's seriously reflecting. Do I really want to go through another brutal camp just to face this guy again? Am I still willing to sacrifice my body for a war like that? If that's where his head is, then yes. March may have been the final time we saw Alex Pereira inside the Octagon. But there's a third possibility, much more optimistic. Maybe none of this is about injuries or emotions. Maybe Alex is just playing the game. He's a smart man. The UFC knows he's one of the most marketable fighters on the roster. Every time he fights, he becomes a meme, a viral moment, a storyline. He trends on social media, dominates the headlines, and sells pay-per-views. So what if this silence is strategic? What if the UFC offered a rematch, but not with the kind of payday he expects? What if there's a contract negotiation going on behind the scenes that even Dana White hasn't made public yet? Think about it. A rushed rematch in July is one thing, but a suspenseful, dramatic, highly promoted grudge match in October? That's a different kind of money. The UFC has done this before. Let the tension build. Let the champion complain. Let the fans speculate. And when the timing is right, announce the rematch in a way that shakes the MMA world. That could be what's happening. Meanwhile, Ankalaev is left in limbo. Pereira is unresponsive. Prochazka wants to study. And the light heavyweight belt is sitting on a shelf with no clear next chapter. But here's a twist. Another Brazilian saw the chaos and decided to jump in. Almeida, currently ranked number 6 in the heavyweight division, publicly said he's willing to drop down to 205 pounds and fight Ankalaev for the belt. And that's not just talk. Jailton has fought at light heavyweight before. He chose to stay at heavyweight because the path to the title looked faster. But if he drops back to 205, he becomes a monster. Huge for the division and extremely dangerous. In fact, stylistically, he might be a nightmare for Ankalaev. Jailton's wrestling is suffocating, on par with Dagestani standards. He's taken down and dominated fighters much bigger than Ankalaev. If this fight happens, don't be surprised if it turns into a grappling clinic. But here's the interesting part. Ankalaev, who was so vocal about needing a fight, has stayed completely silent about Jailton's challenge. Not a word. Maybe that tells us something too. So what's the future of the light heavyweight division? Will Alex Pereira come back? Is he secretly injured, dealing with doubts, negotiating a better deal? Or has he already walked away without saying goodbye? This is a puzzle that Dana White will eventually have to solve. But let us know in the comments. Do you think Alex Pereira is done for good? Or do you think this rematch is still going to happen? Imagine if they announce the fight and Alex comes back to knock out the Russian. That would be the stuff of legends. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what happens next in the UFC. See you in the next one.